Imagine being told as a kid that learning to read would make you less fit for life.
Yeah,
And that's just crazy, right? But
that's wild.
that's exactly what happened to Frederick Douglass.
It is.
This
Okay,
guy
so-
rose from just unimaginable horrors to become, I think arguably one of the most important figures in American history.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to trace his journey in this deep dive from a Maryland plantation, all the way up to the international stage.
And what's so powerful about this deep dive is we're going to hear Douglas's story in his own words.
Oh, yeah.
He wrote 3 autobiographies,
Wow.
each one giving us like a deeper look into his life and how his views changed over time.
I mean, 3, that's a lot of writing.
It is. It's a lot of reflection,
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of thinking.
And we're also going to be using this fascinating podcast episode from history that doesn't suck as a guide.
Oh, it's such a good one.
It really is.
It brings Douglas's world to life.
So let's rewind all the way back to the beginning. Frederick Douglass is born into slavery in 1818 in Maryland, separated from his mother as a baby
Yeah.
and just subjected to, you can't even imagine.
Unimaginable hardship.
Yeah, what stands out to you about his early life?
I think it's his thirst for knowledge. In the middle of all this suffering,
Yeah.
he's 7 years old when he's sent to Baltimore.
Okay.
And he meets this woman, Sophia Auld,
Okay.
who treats him with kindness, which is,
Oh,
rare for the time,
yeah.
and starts teaching him to read.
And this is a huge turning point for him.
Oh, absolutely.
Right up until her husband gets involved
Right.
and forbids her from teaching him.
Forbids it.
He actually says that teaching a slave to read would forever unfit him to be a slave.
It's chilling, isn't it?
Oh, it's chilling. But it also reveals so much about the system.
Yeah.
Keeping slaves ignorant was like the key to control.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, and they knew that.
Yeah. And so this encounter, though, it sparks something in young Douglas.
Right. It does. It does.
He realizes that literacy, this is like a pathway
Yeah.
to freedom.
To freedom, to agency.
It's a weapon against all the oppression that he's facing.
And you see this determination in him. He uses scraps of newspaper,
Wow.
discarded copybooks,
That's amazing.
just anything he can get his hands on
Yeah.
to teach himself to read and write.
You can almost feel his, hunger for knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he knows instinctively that knowledge is power.
He knows it.
And he even starts sharing that power.
He does.
Secretly organizing a Sabbath school to teach other slaves how to read.
I mean, talk about brave,
Oh, incredibly brave.
especially considering the risks involved.
And what would happen if he got caught?
Oh, it could have been disastrous.
So it's an act of defiance, but it's also an act of hope, right?
Absolutely.
He's planting these seeds for change.
Yeah, in the darkest of circumstances.
Yeah, but things take such a dark turn when he's sent back to the plantation at 16,
Ah, it's heartbreaking.
where he faces just the brutality of a new master, Thomas Auld.
Yeah, Auld seems to embody everything Douglas hates about slavery.
What I find particularly disturbing is, Auld's religious hypocrisy.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Auld uses religion, pro-slavery interpretations of Christianity
Yeah.
to justify his cruel treatment.
He's twisting scripture to fit his own agenda.
He is, and this really troubles Douglas, who is a devout Christian himself.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that throughout history,
Oh, yeah.
religion has been used to justify some terrible things.
Absolutely.
But Douglas sees through it.
Yeah.
He recognizes this inherent contradiction between what Christ taught and the brutality of slavery,
Yeah.
and it fuels his determination to resist.
And he does,
Or does.
under the hand of Auld's overseer, this guy, Edward Covey.
Oh, Covey.
He's notorious for breaking slaves.
Breaking slaves both physically and psychologically.
Yeah.
Relentless abuse.
It's hard to even fathom the suffering.
It is.
But then something incredible happens.
Yeah, he fights back.
He fights back.
He literally fights Covey.
Yeah.
This is a turning point.
This is more than just a fight, right?
Oh, absolutely. He describes it as his resurrection.
Wow.
The moment where his long-crushed spirit rose.
So by fighting back, he's reclaiming his agency,
Yeah.
his manhood.
In a system designed to strip him of both.
Yeah, and what's remarkable is that Covey never touches him again.
It's as if this act of defiance shifted the power.
It's a symbolic victory.
It is.
A refusal to be broken.
Absolutely.
But even with this newfound strength,
yeah,
Douglas knows he can't stay enslaved.
he has to get out.
He starts meticulously planning his escape.
His first attempt, though,
Yeah.
it's daring, involves 4 other slaves.
Okay.
And it fails.
Oh, can't even imagine the fear, the disappointment.
It's a crushing setback.
And historical records, they suggest that their plan was betrayed.
Yeah, possibly by one of their own.
They're captured, they're imprisoned.
And threatened with being sold south, which for many slaves was a fate worse than death.
Oh, it's awful. But miraculously, Douglas, he's spared that fate.
He is.
He's sent back to Baltimore.
It's a strange twist of fate, isn't it?
It is.
Because, in Baltimore, he sees a different side of slavery.
Yeah, how so?
He's hired out to work in the shipyards,
Oh, okay.
exposed to this more complex urban life.
So he's starting to understand the economics of slavery.
Yeah, he even sees how it impacts white workers.
Really?
Who are forced to compete with unpaid slave labor.
It's like a glimpse into his evolving political thought.
Absolutely. But through all of this,
Yeah.
he never gives up on freedom.
He starts planning his second escape.
He does, this time determined to succeed.
And this escape is it's bold.
It is.
He disguises himself as a sailor, boards a train with this borrowed certificate of freedom.
His heart must have been pounding.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Especially when the conductor approaches.
Yeah. Yeah, and he even writes about showing a document with the American Eagle on it.
Almost like that alone should guarantee safe passage.
A blend of quick thinking and defiance.
And you know what?
What?
It works.
He makes it.
He makes it to freedom.
Wow.
He eventually settles in New Bedford, Massachusetts with his wife, Anna Murray.
It's a triumphant moment.
It is, but as we know, true equality remained elusive even in the North.
Yeah, he faces prejudice, discrimination.
A harsh reality check.
It really is. That shapes his views on social justice, going forward.
Yeah, this is crucial.
Yeah.
Escaping slavery wasn't the end.
It was just the beginning.
Yeah, now he's free to join the fight on a larger scale.
And that's where we'll pick up next time, right?
We will.
We've seen him rise from an enslaved child to a man who dared to resist, to escape, and now to find his voice in this growing abolitionist movement.
Incredible. So we're back, and Douglas has found his way to New Bedford, Massachusetts. He's breathing in the air of freedom.
It's got to feel amazing, right?
Yeah. I mean, after everything he's been through.
Yeah.
But this isn't just a personal victory for him.
No, I imagine not.
This is where he really starts turning his experience into this powerful force for change.
It's like he can't just sit back and enjoy his own freedom.
Right. He feels this responsibility to use it to help others.
Yeah.
He's driven to speak out against this injustice, and he finds his platform through the abolitionist movement.
Okay, so tell me more about that.
He's going to meetings, he's writing letters to newspapers.
Wow.
He even becomes a preacher.
No kidding.
Using his voice to denounce the evils of slavery.
And it's his voice. I mean, that's what everyone talks about, right?
It is. It's not just what he says, but how he says it.
Yeah.
His speeches are just electrifying, filled with this passion, this conviction.
It's like he has this ability to connect with people on this really deep level.
Yeah, and make them see the humanity of the enslaved.
Yeah. That's powerful.
So it's no wonder that he gains recognition so quickly within the movement.
So then comes this pivotal moment in 1841. He gives this speech on Nantucket Island.
Yes.
And it catches the ear of William Lloyd Garrison.
Oh, Garrison.
Publisher of The Liberator.
A big name in the abolitionist movement.
Yeah.
It's a fateful encounter.
It is.
Garrison sees Douglas's talent, hears his story, and invites him to join the lecture circuit.
So he's going to be sharing his experiences with audiences all across the North.
Exactly. It's a pretty quick rise to fame.
It is. And you know what I find fascinating?
What's that?
Garrison and Douglas, I mean, they seem like such different people, right?
They were.
Garrison's this radical firebrand.
Yeah.
And Douglas seems more, I don't know, pragmatic?
Yeah, Garrison was all about immediate abolition.
Right.
He didn't trust the government. He wasn't interested in compromise.
Okay.
Douglas, while he was absolutely committed to ending slavery,
Yeah.
he believed in political action.
So they're united by this common goal, but their approaches are completely different.
They are, and it definitely created some tension.
Yeah, I bet.
But in those early years, their shared passion, it really fueled the movement.
And, I mean, can you imagine hearing Douglas speak?
I mean, his firsthand accounts delivered with that eloquence.
Wow.
It must have been something else.
And his impact wasn't just limited to speeches.
No, in 1845, he publishes his first autobiography, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American slave.
Catchy title.
It's a sensation.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, here he is, a former slave.
Writing his own story,
Yeah.
challenging the narrative of the time.
Bold move.
Yeah.
Especially considering he's still a fugitive.
Right. He could be captured at any moment.
It's just amazing.
The risks were huge,
Yeah.
But the stakes were even higher.
So he goes on this book tour?
He does. It takes him to England, Ireland, Scotland.
Wow.
He's speaking out against slavery.
And it's on this trip that a group of British abolitionists pool their money and buy his freedom.
His words become the very instrument of his liberation.
It's incredible.
It really is, and it highlights the international dimension of this movement.
And so now, with this newfound freedom, he can chart his own course.
Yeah.
Which leads him to break with Garrison.
He does.
And establish his own newspaper, the North Star.
That's right.
What led to that split?
It was really a culmination of their different ideologies.
Okay.
Douglas, he believed in using political means to achieve abolition.
Okay.
Garrison, he stuck to his more radical approach.
So Douglas saw the political system as a potential tool for change.
Exactly.
And Garrison thought it was just, like, completely corrupt.
You got it.
And starting the North Star, that was more than just having his own platform, wasn't it?
It was.
It was about creating a space for this more inclusive and politically engaged vision.
Absolutely.
And he used the paper to advocate for a whole range of social reforms.
He did. Women's rights, education reform, temperance.
He understood that true freedom, it wasn't just about the absence of chains.
It was about dismantling all forms of oppression.
And this vision, it's so clear in his famous 4th of July speech in 1852.
Oh, the one in Rochester.
Yeah, where he asks this really provocative question: what, to the American slave, is your 4th of July?
It's a powerful indictment.
He's not celebrating, is he?
He's challenging the nation to live up to its ideals.
And this commitment to justice,
Yeah,
coupled with his just incredible way with words, I mean.
it makes him the leading abolitionist voice of his time.
He is.
But the fight is far from over.
No, the nation's on the rump of civil war.
And Douglas finds himself right at the center of it. Okay, so we're back, and the nation, I mean, it's on the brink of civil war.
The issue of slavery, it's been bubbling for so long.
Yeah, for decades.
And it finally reaches this, like, boiling point.
It's a moment of truth for America, and Douglas, he's right there in the thick of it, using his voice to push for change, to push for action.
He's not just going to sit back and watch, is he?
No, absolutely not. He throws himself into the fight.
How so?
Well, for one, he starts advocating for Black enlistment in the Union Army.
He sees that as a path to freedom, I guess.
Yeah, a path to freedom and equality. It's a chance to strike at the heart of the very thing that has oppressed Black Americans for so long.
And he doesn't shy away from challenging people in power either.
No, not at all.
I mean, he meets with President Lincoln.
He does.
Urging him to take action against slavery, to issue the Emancipation Proclamation.
It's incredibly brave to confront the president and demand justice. But Douglas, he understands how critical this moment is, how urgent the situation is. He's not afraid to push Lincoln to help him see that ending slavery is a moral imperative.
And these efforts, along with the efforts of countless others, I mean, they do. The Emancipation Proclamation is issued in 1863.
A huge turning point.
Yeah, a victory. But even after this momentous step towards freedom, Douglas, he knows the fight isn't over.
Right. True equality requires more than just the end of slavery.
Yeah.
It demands full citizenship, the right to vote, the right to participate fully in American society.
So he sets his sights on Black suffrage.
He does.
He sees that the ballot box, it's the key to lasting change.
It is. Political power is essential to protecting the freedoms of Black Americans.
Yeah.
He envisions a society where Black Americans have the same rights, the same opportunities as white Americans.
Where race is no longer this barrier.
Exactly.
And he's not just talking about it.
No, he's working tirelessly.
What's he doing?
Well, he's recruiting Black soldiers, he's organizing relief efforts.
Wow.
And he's fighting for equal pay, equal treatment within the Union Army.
He's putting his life on the line to advance this cause of freedom.
And his sons, Charles and Lewis, they enlist as well.
Really?
In the 54th Massachusetts Regiment.
That's amazing.
It shows how committed the entire family was.
Yeah, to this fight for equality. It's 1865, the Civil War ends, slavery is finally abolished.
A long time coming.
But, as we know, the fight for equal rights, I mean, it continues.
It does, and Douglas, he's not done. He jumps right into the work of Reconstruction.
So he's pushing for Black economic and political empowerment.
He wants to build a new society, one that's truly just and equitable.
He's not content with just tearing down the old system.
He knows that true equality, It requires more than just laws.
All right.
It demands systemic change, economic opportunity, and a dismantling of all the racist structures that are woven into American society.
And he never stops challenging the nation to live up to its ideals.
Never. He holds them accountable.
I mean, he even serves in different government positions.
Yeah, he's Minister Resident and Consul General to Haiti.
Wow, that's impressive.
It is, and he uses his position to advocate for human rights, social justice on this global stage.
Frederick Douglass, his life, it's a testament to the power of, resilience, determination.
And an unwavering commitment to justice.
He never gave up.
He never stopped fighting. He never stopped believing that the world could be better.
He rose from the depths of slavery to become this incredible voice in American history.
A true inspiration.
His story shows us that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit, it can triumph.
It can, and it reminds us that change is possible.
But it requires courage, it requires persistence, it requires a willingness to challenge the way things are.
Absolutely.
Frederick Douglass's legacy, it's still felt today.
It is.
It's challenging all of us to confront injustice.
To fight for equality.
And to never, ever give up on creating a more just and equitable world.
If you're interested in learning more about Frederick Douglass, his own writings and speeches, they're an incredible resource.
Yeah, they offer timeless lessons in courage and resilience, and they show us what it truly means to pursue equality.
And until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep striving for a better future.